New at 11, a man was arrested after an overnight standoff in Windsor. That's according to officials here in Dane County. Deputies were called to the scene around 10 last night. It happened on the 6600 block of Birch Road. There were reports of a man violating a no contact order that had been put in place just hours earlier after a fight. When deputies got there, they found a 36-year-old man sitting in his Jeep outside, and he was ordered to stay in his car, but he sped away instead, they say, prompting a chase with officers. The man returned back to his home on Depot Street in Windsor, and when he got to his house before deputies could catch him, they then tried to force entry into the home and heard a gunshot. They then established a perimeter around the home, and after a several-hour standoff, he was arrested around 4:30 this morning on multiple charges.